Good morning and welcome to Northwest Unitarian Universalist Church, where we are gathered both virtually and in person as one connected community. I'm Tom Ott, my pronouns are he, him, and I'll be your worship associate or worship leader for this morning's service. And I'm joined by our musicians, Alex Myers and Steve Curtin, and Ariana Abel, who will be singing for us later on. If you're a visitor online and would like Northwest to stay in touch with you, please fill out the visitor form that's appearing in the chat box. And if you're with us in person, you can fill out the visitor sign-in form in the atrium. So now's the time we greet our neighbors with a wave from wherever you are.
We have a few more announcements, and you'll find more information about news from Northwest and its events in the weekly newsletter and on our website. Y'all, we have this summer we're going to be moving around to different services in different places. We're going to be here sometimes, in Detroit sometimes, and at Farmington sometimes, and one Sunday we're all going to the DIA. So we have made these nifty little cards that you can pick up today that tells you all summer long where worship is going to be. So before you leave, make sure you get a card that says where worship is going to be. Next Sunday, June 8th, we're all going to be at First UU Detroit at 4605 in the First UU Detroit building. And we are going to be joined by Birmingham, Farmington, y'all, and some folks from Grosse Pointe as we celebrate a pride service and then get on a shuttle bus to go down, and anyone who wants to march in the Motor City Pride Parade, we are showing up 5 congregations strong to say that our faith is a welcoming and affirming faith. It was something that happened yesterday when 4 congregations shared a booth at Ferndale Pride. It was it was wonderful to be there. If you're interested in either a pop-up choir, meaning we're gonna learn a song that day and sing it in the service, or a kids flash mob, we're gonna be rehearsing for those things at 9 a.m. at 4605 Cass. So if you wanna sing or dance, come at 9 a.m. We're gonna have a service here at Northwest on June 15th, and we're going to be joined by UU Detroit for Flower Communion. And then again in 3 weeks, on June 22nd, we're going to be here, and another congregational meeting is going to follow so that we can vote on officers and the bylaws. So where are we going to be next week? Detroit, yes. Where are we going to be the week after on the 15th? Here. And on the 22nd, the week after? Here. You guys are so good. After today's service, we're going to have a circle practice and discussion where we'll focus on, these are 2 separate things, where we're going to focus on our congregational meetings and how to achieve the goal of making sure that everyone knows what's going on and we're getting consensus and collective agreement on how our congregation is going to go forward, what information needs to be had, how do we need to run those meetings, how do we need to talk to each other, how do we feel about the ones that have been happening. So that's going to happen today in the sanctuary after service. Before we begin, let's take a deep breath and let's settle into a time of worship together.
Thank you, Alex. The flaming chalice is a symbol of our faith. We light it knowing this morning that many other Unitarian Universalist congregations across this land and around the world are doing the same. We light our chalice with words from Northwest UU's mission statement. So please repeat after me. We light this flame to grow in spirit, knowledge, and action.
We light this flame to grow in spirit, knowledge, and action.
Accept and challenge one another.
Accept and challenge one another.
To support each other in times of joy and need.
To support each other in times of joy and need.
Good morning. Each week, we offer a land acknowledgement. We honor and pay our respects to the land on which we live and work, which was violently stolen through colonialism, genocide, and forced removal of its traditional stewards. These stewards are the Anishinaabe, the Council of the Three Fires, which include the Ottawa, Ojibwe, and Potawatomi, also known as the Ottawa, Chippewa, and Potawatomi tribes. We also acknowledge the people of African descent who were forcibly removed from their land and separated from their families through kidnapping and enslavement, and pay reverence and respect to them for building this country's infrastructure and economy with no compensation or reparations to date. Please join us for our opening hymn.
Okay. Okay, this month, Northwest Community Partner is the Ruth Ellis Center. It's named in honor of a resilient Detroit icon. Ruth Ellis Center works to create supportive environment and community for LGBTQ+ young people. All undesignated donations will be split between Ruth Ellis Center and our congregation. You can give in a variety of ways that are now visible on your screen. And for those here in person, we will pass a collection basket for the checks and cash. There is also a QR code in your order of service. We honor your generosity, ensuring that our collective resources do a greater good for ourselves and our world than any of us would have done individually.
And please welcome Ariana Abel, who is going to sing Rainbow Connection for us.
Why are there so many songs about rainbows, and what's on the other side? Rainbows are visions, but only illusions, and rainbows have nothing to hide. So I've been told, and some choose to believe it. I know the wrong, wait and see. Someday you'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection. Alex, would you start that again? I sang the wrong words. Who said that every wish would be heard and answered when wished on the morning star? Somebody thought of that, and somebody believed it, and look what it's done so far. What's so amazing that keeps us stargazing, and what do we think we might see? Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. All of us under the spell. We know that it's probably magic. Have you been half asleep? And have you heard voices? I've heard them calling my name. Is this the sweet sound that calls the young sailor? The voice might be one and the same. I've heard it too many times to ignore it. It's something that I'm supposed to be. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. The lovers, the dreamers,
Good morning. I'm Mary Mueller, and I'm a member of the Northwest Pastoral Care Committee. My pronouns are she, her. I want to remind that anyone needing the support of our community can reach out to Reverend Julie Brock or Pastor Eli Krantz, or by emailing the pastoral care team at pastoralcare@northwestuu.org. The collective cares of our community are recorded in our Book of Joys and Sorrows, which remains on the red cabinet near the name tags. If you would like to submit a joy or sorrow virtually, please stop. For those of you who are online, we're pausing the service for a few minutes. Ralph Bruckert is having some kind of a medical issue, but he's okay. And we'll continue in just a few minutes.
we all take a deep breath collectively together? Community is a beautiful and difficult thing. I just saw a community come together to be there for someone that they deeply, deeply cared about. And I just saw fear spring up because we deeply, deeply care about each other. Let's keep that centered. Ralph is getting seen to by paramedics. When he was being rolled out of here, he was alert, he was speaking, he was cracking some jokes. So we're hoping that things are going to be okay. I want to let you all know that we have had more sad news in our congregation. This last weekend, Zena Stewart passed away. And here to speak about Zena, our beloved, is her daughter, Sarah Stewart.
Thank you, Julie. I'm Sarah Stewart. I'm Zena and David's daughter. Like Julie said, my mother passed away on Friday evening. She had lived with Parkinson's for a long time, but her death was unexpected. I'm so grateful to this church. Reverend Julie came and visited yesterday. Mary Mueller has organized meals. Thank you to those of you who have brought meals who are going to bring us some. And thank you to this church for being my mom's spiritual community for 40 years. I grew up here. This church held her heart, and I am grateful to all of you for that. Her memorial service will be here on September 13. I ask you all to keep my father David in your prayers. Pray for his peace and his comfort. I appreciate you all. I love you. Thank you.
It means something. It means something to be the spiritual home of someone for 40 years. It means something to be the people that she cared about. What I remember most about Zena was her enduring kindness when I got here. It matters. She mattered. And we matter, being her community. For all the joys and sorrows that have been spoken today, for all of the fears and hopes and dreams of this community, I offer this prayer. Sources of radiance and resilience, keep watch with those who work or watch or weep this night. May the suffering be soothed. May the sick be tended. May the weary find rest. May the dying and those who love them find peace. May the joyous be shielded. And may all of us know that we are surrounded by a love that is with us always, a web that connects us to all that exists. May we take a few moments of silence to be with each other in this sacred space. Let's feel our bodies in this space, check in with how we are doing, put our feet on the floor if that is comfortable. May we take a few moments of silence to feel our connections to each other and to what is beyond. And we will go out singing.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to us.
Okay. Next, we have a responsive reading. It's number 441 in the Singing the Living Tradition. So I will read make sure it's the same. Yes, I will read the regular print and then you can respond with the italicized. To worship is to stand in awe under a heaven of stars, before a flower, a leaf in sunlight, or a grain of sand.
To worship is to be silent, receptive, before a tree astir with the wind, or the passing shudder of a flower.
To worship is to work with dedication and with skill. It is to pause from work and listen to a strain of music.
To worship is to sing with the singing beauty of the earth. It is to listen through a storm to the still small voice within.
Worship is a loneliness seeking communion. It is a thirsty land crying out for rain.
The kindred fire within our hearts, through deeds of conscience and through acts of love.
Worship is the mystery within us, reaching out to the mystery beyond.
Yearning to speak. It is the window of the moment, open to the sky of the eternal.
Okay, you're now invited to rise in body or spirit and join in singing hymn number 177, Sakura, and apparently we are not going to sing the Japanese
Not going to
version.
be the Japanese version, just the English.
Start with English.
177. Cherry blooms are everywhere, like a
One day, a number of years ago, when I was here for an emergency alto rehearsal, I happened to walk through the multipurpose room and saw 20 or so women sitting at the tables we used for coffee hour. They were arranging flowers. It was a riot of color and activity. And I said, "What is this, and can I join?" Well, it was Ikebana, and they said, "Yes, please join." What is Ikebana? It is the traditional art of Japanese flower arranging. The word Ikebana roughly translates as giving life to flowers or the way of flowers. And I have been a member of Ikebana International Detroit Chapter 85, whose motto is friendship through flowers ever since. That's also the motto of all the international Ikebana chapters throughout the world. There are many in Japan, as you might well imagine, but they're all over the world, and it's a wonderful organization that seeks to bring people together. I have loved being a member of this group, and I love being a UU. And I thought it would be interesting to explore parallels between Ikebana and UUism. In many ways, Ikebana reminds me of the spiritual journey I've experienced in Unitarian Universalism. It is all about arranging flowers, but like this church, Ikebana International incorporates a community spirit, a love of learning, a shared purpose, and it seeks to promote harmony between different nations and different cultural viewpoints. It was originally based upon traditional religious practices and philosophy found in Shinto and Buddhism. But it has moved away from that to some extent, while all the while keeping its spiritual and meditative aspects. UU, as we know, was also based upon religious tradition, based upon Judaism and Christianity, but it takes from all religious traditions, as well as changing. It was influenced by existentialism and humanism and paganism, among other philosophies. But there's a connection to the natural world that we stress here, and also in Ikebana, the interconnected web of life, which is an important grounding principle. And there are, as I said before, some similarities with the formation of Ikebana growing from both Shinto and Buddhist religious traditions. The Japanese love of nature is reflected in Shinto philosophy, which believes that there are nebulous spirits or deities that reside in natural objects, such as mountains, trees, rocks, flowers. And maybe reside isn't quite the right word, because there isn't really a clear distinction between the object and the deity, so they embody each other, they reflect each other, but they are one with each other. The spirit and the object are one. And so there is a real love of nature that is inherent to Shintoism. And Ikebana reflects this reverence for nature. An arrangement is placed in someone's home. They usually do their own arrangement. And when that happens, it isn't seen as bringing a bit of nature indoors, but instead it's seen as creating a link between the indoors and the outdoors. So it's a permeable exchange. There's a connection between those two worlds instead of the separation of inside and outside. Then, of course, Buddhism came to Japan. It came to Japan in about this 15, they're not sure of the exact date, 538, 550, 52. And flowers were an important part of the worship. They were placed upon altars before the images of Buddha. And these became, as time went by, an art form. In the 15th century especially, it was comparable to painting and sculpture. And at that point, it started to be codified. These types of floral arrangements became a discipline with formal rules. But it was grounded in its spirituality. For example, there's a type of arrangement called a shoka, where there are three main branches symbolizing heaven, earth, and humanity. The main branch is called the shin, and it's the tallest. A shorter branch frequently goes in another direction, and it's called the soy. And then there's a shorter one yet called the tie, going in yet another direction. And I didn't do a traditional shoka today because the flowers didn't tell me to do that, but anyway. And in some arrangements, the water is a more integral part of the arrangement, and there are rules about how you line up the stems, and they must be lined up in a straight line, you know, so if you have material and flowers and other material, it can't go here, there, it's gotta line up. And some of the branching in some arrangements, it's required that there's a certain amount of space, no more, no less, between where the material can go from the straight line to a branching or a tilting. So that to me reminds me of ballet, where, you know, there's the formal, strict positions of the legs and the arms, and then there's other forms of dance that are built upon that foundation, but they deviate. There's a freer expression, and there are many schools of Ikebana that have sprung up where, you know, it starts with the basics, but then they can do a lot of different other types of arrangements. And then there's the beloved free form, which is fun because you don't have to quite do all the rules, but it's wonderful to do different kinds of arrangements. But always there is a spiritual and a meditative underpinning. There's the focus on the beauty of nature, the goal of letting the materials speak to you about letting them go in the direction that arises from their inherent nature and beauty. But it also requires the action of the arranger to reveal the higher beauty inherent in those materials. This interaction has been used as an aid to meditation, and in fact, in the 15th century, the Buddhist monks that started this practice started it as an aid to meditation. Soldiers going into battle sometimes would make a floral arrangement to ground themselves. And so the process of arranging makes you look at nature, really, really look and contemplate and enjoy the beauty, but bring out the beauty. So you pick up a stem sometimes, and sometimes it takes me a long time to get started when I make an arrangement because I pick up a stem and it's like, do I like this one? Should I bend it? Then I bend it and I break it, or oops. And then I pick up another stem, oh, I like this one better. Okay, I'll do that. Now what goes next? What's my soy? What direction am I gonna have it bend, right or left? And the process really is so meditative because it really forces you to look at that material and let it speak to you. Now, is it all meditative? There's someone that sits behind me usually in the group that she's a true artist. She does beautiful work. And she will do a running commentary on her work, which I find hilarious. Why did I do that? Oh, Oh, what was I thinking? Oh, okay, I'll do this. Wait a minute, that's not working. Oh, I just broke my flower. Oh, I have to tear it apart and start all over again. And I feel like that too. I'll get a certain distance along, and then I feel like picking up a sledgehammer, honestly, and breaking it. And it's like, okay, take a deep breath, start again. And, and what could go wrong? I mean, it's flowers, so it's going to be beautiful no matter what you do. But the path to inner peace and harmony, as we know, is not an easy one. So you gotta take that deep breath and ground. One of the things it forces you to contemplate too is the ephemeral nature of life and existence, because we use real flowers. We use cherry blossoms that blossom so briefly, then they fall off the branch, and it's reflecting that life is short, that old age and the fading grasses of autumn force you to look at mortality in yourself, and it's very Buddhist. So how does this play out in the group that meets here at Northwest once a month? Well, we're sent a newsletter, we're told what kind of materials to buy. I might say 3 large flowers or 1 large flower, a branch with buds, leaves. It depends on the sensei's class, what they want to teach, and then we get here with our containers, which is another name for vases, and we all start with a lesson and a demonstration. We're all looking, we're all learning, but like Yuyuism, we take that message, and then the colors, all the colors of the rainbow, it is reflected in everyone's experience and what they've taken in and how they want to express it. So it's very you in a way, because we all do the same thing. We come here, we listen, we hear the sermon, we hear each other, and we take away and we reflect that in very many ways. It's all variations on a theme, but it's wonderful to see the individual expression. It's wonderful to see the commonalities and then the variations on that theme. And then when we finish, we have our sensei, we have our leader here, we have our minister and our pastoral care and our music and all the wonderful people that make this happen, our community. And the sensei will come, and with your permission, they'll critique your arrangement. And I wish I had her today, because I think I would have lowered these, but anyway. I think she would have said, those are too tall. Anyway, but that's where we learn, because we get that feedback like we do here. So we can see there's commonalities between Ikebana and Yuyuism, a tradition based upon a reverence for nature, a tradition that started with a deep connection to religion and philosophical roots, but changed with times. A tradition that works because it is built upon principles, like our 8 principles. But the manifestation of those principles differ based upon individual expression. And this last one is the most interesting to me when drawing parallels between Ikebana and Yuyuism. To draw this parallel, I need to talk about something called negative space. In Western floral arrangements, a lot of them are like a bouquet, and they're beautiful, but they're different from Japanese Ikebana, because they tend to be a more cohesive whole, a group of flowers, and they're arranged very artfully many times, but it doesn't use as much negative space. So what is the negative space? It's where the branches and the flowers, the material is, but it's also where it is not. And what is defined is a sculptural aspect where space matters, the materials, but what's going on in between them. The sensei that was here when I first started going, Toshi Shimura, used to say that a bird should be able to fly through your arrangement. I always remembered that. To me, this is the essence of Unitarianism, that we have space to think and believe what we will. That we have space that is not filled with dogma. And I always liked the chalice being on the left here, because I always felt like you have this chalice, and then it's like reading something. It's telling you, you know, this is you, but then there's that space. And what space are you gonna fill? And how are you gonna fill that space with your reflection of what you get here? And these important questions can be answered the way each one of us wants, or left open-ended and not answered. And I like that there's no one particular brand of religion that fills up any existing space with its own brand of answer. So I wanted to find out how UUs in our congregation filled up this existing space. So I spoke with 10 of them. One didn't want to be identified, but the other ones are Mohsen Azerbaijani, Meg Baker, Randy Block, Liz Buckner, Jim Gobeski, Linda Gobeski, Beata Amparski, Alex Myers, and Jan Price. And what did I find? It was really a joy to hear people express their beliefs and their questions and what's important to them. And I really would like to have a workshop in that, because it's so fascinating, and it really does, make you realize that people have wonderful spiritual journeys here that I don't think they would have outside of UUism. So I'm going to give you a few of those answers I got. Concerning God and spiritual beliefs, a belief in God but not the Trinity, an agnostic who isn't an atheist. Those are various things that people said because of experiences that just can't be explained. That God is inner strength that allows you to do the impossible. That people are agnostics or atheists, but they value humanism and the wisdom found in other religious traditions. That there's some belief in something other than what they can see, without a belief in a traditional God. A belief that it doesn't really seem to be an afterlife, but what really matters is what they did with their life before death. That defining themselves as an atheist, not as an atheist, but as a humanist, because it means caring about people and having the right relationships with people. Believing in the possibility of truth found in many religions, not heaven or hell, but believing in good and evil. That people, when coming here, gained knowledge about social issues, focusing on doing good in this life to benefit others rather than to do good to get their soul into heaven. Being a UU was a way to be a good person who cared about justice without having to be a Christian. That knowing that the wisdom found in the Christian, Jewish, Hindu, and Buddhist religions might have different names and ways of being expressed, but they're actually saying deep down the same things. That people coming here are being exposed to more social justice issues than they would have been had they not come here. That there's a real value in our community here for growth, for filling the spaces in life with support and friendship. That it's a great place to raise children where they can learn about social justice and how to be a good person. Finding connections with young people. Stressing the interconnected web of life, being in the rainforest, and realizing that humans are not the top dog. Realizing that the world is amazing, the way it all works together, from unadvanced simple life to advanced life. And it all works together, and it keeps on working. And that we can acknowledge and embrace the natural world. And to survive well, we have to stay connected to our surroundings, our relationships with people and with the natural world. And that UUism does not have all the answers, but that's okay. That people can look to science, to religion, and mythology in ways that allow them to make sense, but be open to the possibility that might be more than just what we can observe, but not required to believe any one explanation, any one dogma. That there is universalism also in UUism, an acceptance of people, and not the idea that some people will just not deserve anything good if and when they have awareness after death. To embrace the radiance and resilience in the pagan way of the natural world that resonates. To join this community of like-minded people, which offers support and friendship and encourages spiritual growth. So UU gives us the space to be individuals and to see who each individual is. What do I believe? I don't really believe that God created the universe, but the universe created many things, and it also created the concept of God. So I guess you could say that there is God in the universe. Now, there is also SpongeBob in the universe, and that's good too. But so the universe can do everything from the profound to the silly and everything in between. But I believe that each one of us is a piece of a giant puzzle and expresses a part of the universe in a unique way, as only that person can. I believe that after death, we go back to the whole from which we came, to being one with everything. Not so bleak if you realize that you're going back home. I am so grateful that I am in a tradition that lets me find meaning where I want. I can find meaning in a lone flower in an Ikebana arrangement, that I can find meaning here in this journey I'm taking with you, with people who respect my answers and respect my questions. I invite you to come and check out the Ikebana group that meets here. Here's a little plug. On the second Wednesday of each month, except January and February, at 10 a.m. And it's a wonderful group of people. We are also, one other plug, this Thursday at 10, we are having a free demonstration, a free program, our yearly program, celebrating this chapter's 60th anniversary of its foundation, formation. So I invite you to deepen your UU faith for looking at it and looking for it in unexpected places. Namaste.
Okay, you're invited to rise in body or spirit and join in singing hymn 1068, Rising Green.
I would
Okay, we now extinguish our chalice. Please repeat after me. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of hope.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of hope.
The warmth of community,
The warmth of community,
or the fire of commitment.
or the fire of commitment.
These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
I'd like to close with the words of Theodore Parker. Be ours a religion which like sunshine goes everywhere. Its temple, all space, its shrine, the good heart, its creed, all truth, its ritual, works of love.